It is the 14th of March 2014. Many thanks for joining us on Ebru African News this afternoon. I'm KAMENE GORO. Now let's jump straight into it. Leaders from the East African states have agreed to deploy troops to South Sudan by mid-April, able to help enforce a ceasefire deal between government forces and rebels. Now, South Sudan's neighbors fear that unrest in the world's newest country could spill beyond its borders and escalate into a broader regional conflict.
At a summit in the Ethiopian capital, leaders from the regional bloc, Intergovernmental Authority on Development, IGAD, agreed to a force whose mandate would be protection and deterrence, an official said, including the protection of vital installations such as oil fields.
There is more than needed troops that could be contributed from these countries. So there is no problem of the troop contribution and size. On the timing, it is very urgent. By mid-April, we are talking about 1 month. In 1 month.
Ethiopia, Kenya, Burundi and Rwanda will contribute troops, while Djibouti is also expected to join in. All except Rwanda already provide forces to the 22,000-strong African peacekeeping force in Somalia, battling the Al-Qaeda-linked militants. Rwanda has sent peacekeepers to the Sudanese region of Darfur and the Central African Republic. The bloc's decision comes at a time when peace talks have been making little headway towards ending more than 2 months of fighting in the oil-producing country. Thousands of civilians have been killed in the violence. The negotiations are meant to thrash out any deal on political reform after the power struggle between President Salva Kiir and his sacked deputy Riek Machar sparked unrest are now due to resume next week.
Keeping peace in one region or worldwide is the responsibility of the United Nations Security Council. The African Union Peace and Security Council also share the responsibility. It has been underscored that these two bodies have to provide the necessary support, including logistics, in order to see this force is in action very quickly.
East African governments and the international community have grown increasingly frustrated by the slow pace of negotiations. Rebels and government negotiators have not met face-to-face since signing the ceasefire deal, a truce that failed to stick. The talks have stalled over a rebel demand for the release of 4 political detainees and the withdrawal of Ugandan troops supporting the National Sudan People's Liberation Army, the SPLA, as well as disagreement over what exactly should be up for negotiations.
Moving to the northern regions of Africa, leftist presidential candidate Hamdine Sabahi says that he doubts Egypt's army chief will bring democracy if elected, citing alleged rights abuses since he toppled the country's first democratically chosen leader. Now, Sisi is due to announce his candidacy within a week and is likely to win the presidential election by a landslide.
Although Hamdine Sabahi endorsed Field Marshal Abdel Fattah al-Sisi's ouster President Mohamed Morsi last July, he now urges that repression in Egypt suffered under Hosni Mubarak still taints the political landscape 3 years after his fall. Asked if Sisi could be a democratic leader, Sabahi said the military man's role in guiding Egypt's political transition so far gave a clear indication.
What
we are living in currently is not a reflection of what the Egyptian people want or deserve. Will Sisi be a democratic leader or not? The signals are those that Egypt saw during this interim period in which Sisi is considered to be involved in some way or another, regardless of whether his word is the final one or if he is the one of the many involved. It makes him bear a direct or indirect political responsibility regarding the infringements on freedoms we witnessed, and most importantly, the revolutionary youth being thrown in jail. Mubarak's symbols are upon us in the media and politics.
أهمها إن شباب الثورة ملقى في السجون ووجوه مبارك الفاسدة تعود لتطل علينا في الإعلام والمشهد السياسي.
The popular uprising which hosted Mubarak in 2011 raised hopes of greater freedoms in Egypt, a country at the heart of the Arab world. But progress towards democracy has wavered.
The regime that ruled us for 4 decades and was built upon poverty, autocracy and corruption still exists with its main policies. The change during Morsi's era was only on the surface. The same elite are monopolizing fortunes and authority, while the majority that have their political and economic rights infringed upon are the same.
السياسية والاقتصادية هي نفس الأغلبية وتم نوع من أنواع إحلال.
Sabai, who came third in the 2012 presidential vote after Morsi and ex-Air Force Chief Ahmed Safik, said Egypt had yet to cleanse a rotten system or create a new breed of politicians. Despite his pessimism, Sabai asserted that millions of Egyptians who took to the streets to help remove 2 presidents in 3 years would not tolerate any new dictatorship. This time round, the smooth-talking, jovial politician seems to be betting on the support from youths who joined the anti-Mubarak revolt, but who says might boycott elections because the media and state have been working overtime to promote al-Sisi.
Moving to matters Ukraine, visits to the home for 17-year-old university student Dima have become increasingly tense, with the family split down the middle on whether Crimea should become part of Russia or stay with Ukraine. This reflecting deep divisions between even blood relatives ahead of Sunday's referendum.
Dima is a university student in Simferopol, the capital of Crimea. Every weekend he visits his family 2 hours away. But in the last few weeks, the reunions have become increasingly tense. That's because everybody in the Onoprienko family has an opinion on Sunday's referendum. While Dima would prefer Crimea to remain part of Ukraine, his older brother is pro-Russian.
We must have the right to decide our destiny ourselves, and Kiev has removed this right. They tell us what to do.
You think like that, but you're exaggerating. We already have a government, and it's going to be the same thing with Moscow. We won't have the right to decide for ourselves.
In Simferopol, Dima takes part in pro-Ukraine rallies. But it's a difficult position to hold on the peninsula, which is majority Russian-speaking, and his mother worries about his safety.
We discovered that he was taking part in pro-Ukraine rallies. We asked him to stop, but he carried on. We're worried. We're really very worried.
Dima decided to become involved in politics aged 17 while watching the demonstrations in Kiev on television, and he's now prepared to act with the courage of his convictions.
I know Crimea will become a territory of Russia. I'll finish my year at university and then leave to go to another university in Ukraine.
His father, Sasha, may hope for Crimea to become part of Russia, but above all, he wants to keep the family together.
He gets angry easily, but, well, I hear him. The fact that we have passionate discussions doesn't mean we're fighting.
There's at least one thing the family agrees on. At dinner time, it's best to leave politics at the door.
As the Syrian war enters its 4th year in March, the country shows no signs of peaceful negotiations between rebels and forces loyal to President Bashar al-Assad.
Clashes continue in Syria. Rebels fire towards a government helicopter in the town of Morek. After almost 3 weeks of continuous clashes, they say they've been able to control important posts in the town.
This battle is going well, thank God. Assad's dogs are running away, trying to escape the wrath of the heroes in this town, Morek, which is now an obstacle for the thugs and militias. Thank God.
President Bashar al-Assad has not yet announced whether he will stand for a 3rd term. But in parts of Damascus, there are indications he's running. Peace mediator Lakhdar Brahimi has taken notice of these signs.
If there is an election, my suspicion is that the opposition, all the oppositions, will probably not be interested in talking to the government.
He called for the Security Council's help in any future peace talks. Syria's civil war enters its 4th year this month. And in this refugee camp, young Syrians mark the anniversary. More than 136,000 Syrians have been killed since 2011. The United Nations has warned that Syrians are about to replace Afghans as the world's largest refugee population.
The Israeli-Palestinian conflict is one of the world's longest-standing conflicts. Now, many people feel that resolving this conflict is the key to resolving the various conflicts throughout the Middle East. A cross-border flare-up, on the other hand, now spills into its second day as both sides lobby rocket fire.
Residents of Gaza woke up to a rainy Thursday after a night of airstrikes. Israel lobbied some 29 strikes against targets around Gaza overnight. That was in response to 60 rockets launched towards Israel the day before by Islamic militants.
Escalation brings escalation, and calmness brings calmness. That's what we're used to in the Gaza Strip.
On Thursday, the cross-border rocket fire moved into a second day. Palestinian militants in the Gaza Strip fired rockets at Israeli cities. A Hamas leader in Gaza said the rocket attacks were a warning to Israel. An agreement to maintain calm, he said, doesn't mean Gaza is willing to surrender.
The Israeli occupation is fully responsible for the escalation taking place. We assure you that the Palestinian resistance is defending itself when confronting these crimes.
Wednesday's rocket attack was the heaviest such barrage towards Israel in nearly 2 years. It comes as Israel celebrates the Jewish holiday of Purim. Israel warns it'll hit back with a tough military response if the holiday is marred by further violence.
Zooming in on the United States, at least 7 people are reported dead as crews search for missing residents after an Upper Manhattan explosion brought down 2 apartment buildings.
In thick smoke and bitter cold, emergency workers are on the scene of an Upper Manhattan explosion. 2 residential buildings collapsed here on Wednesday, caused by what is thought to be a gas leak.
And we will give updates.
New York Mayor Bill de Blasio gave an update on the number of casualties.
Tragically, there are 7 people now confirmed dead. Approximately 40 people have been treated and transported by EMS to nearby hospitals, including Harlem Hospital, Metropolitan, Mount Sinai, and St. Luke's.
Crews picked through smoldering rubble looking for survivors. With at least 5 people still missing, a lot of questions remain.
An investigation into this incident is being conducted jointly by the Fire Department's Bureau of Fire Investigations, meaning the fire marshals, and the Police Department's Arson and Explosives Unit. And they're now working in collaboration with the National Transportation Safety Board.
Christopher Harrison lives in the neighborhood.
When I even came home last night, they were still removing the rubble. They had cadaver dogs looking for bodies. I mean, it was just the whole scene. It was something like out of a disaster movie, if you could only imagine it.
Another local took pictures of the explosion.
Nobody expected this. It was a sudden death.
A Con Edison representative said there were no recent reports of any gas leaks, besides a call received just 15 minutes before the explosion. The mayor says 89 residential units have been evacuated due to ongoing fire operations, and because gas in the area has been turned off.
Moving to what one would call human interest sports, blind cricket is helping visually impaired people in Pakistan to cope with their disability. While on the sporting front, the main goal is next year's World Cup in South Africa.
Cricket, a common sight in Pakistan. But this is a game with a difference. All the players here are blind or partially sighted. A bell inside the ball alerts them to its location, and points or runs are allocated in accordance with the player's level of myopia.
The 3 categories of players alternate in the batting lineup. 1 run from a B1 player is counted as 2 runs, both in his personal score and in the team score as well. It means that if he hits a 4, it will be counted as 8 runs.
As with regular cricket, teamwork is vital. Accidents, however, do occur, and to limit them, practice sessions are finely tuned.
To train blind people is a very tough job because you have to demonstrate everything before them and close to them, and you have to train them according to their body structure, especially the bowlers and batsmen. When they are playing, you have to teach them the shots, and each shot angle should be done hand in hand with them.
So far there have been 3 blind World Cups, and Pakistan have won 2 of them. And in this cricket-mad country, playing the sport has helped these players integrate into society, though there is still some way to go in a country where the disabled are sometimes marginalised.
in Europe or in other countries, they are given a lot of other facilities by the state, by the governments, and their education levels are high, and also they are given tremendous civil rights. But here we have to struggle for everything.
Pakistan's neighbour India are the current cricket world champions. The Indian blind team has recently travelled to Lahore for a series, and the intensity of the rivalry between the two countries is as present in this version of the game as it is at the highest level.
My friends, my parents, everybody will say while coming to Lahore, they said you have to win the match because the India and Pakistan is the match. And here also the Pakistani players, parents, friends, they used to say we have to win because the India is coming and we are hosting, we have to win, like that they'll say. So that is the spirit and that is the strength of the game actually.
These matches between cricket's greatest foes are, however, a mere starter ahead of the main course, the Blind Cricket World Cup in South Africa next year.
That story wraps up our bulletin for you this afternoon. Join me at 9 p.m. for our primetime bulletin and a more in-depth analysis on what's transpiring in our world today. Many thanks for your absolutely scintillating company. I'm KAMENE GORO, and from the entire Ebru Africa team, do have yourself a splendid afternoon.
Newline Limited, your one-stop shop for elegant and comfortable office furniture. Newline responds to your expectations for office furniture in a modern language. We offer a 5-year warranty period including unit transfers within Nairobi. For more information, visit our showroom at Chester House, Lotus Street, Nairobi. Newline Limited, your success partner.
Floma, professional makeup.
Does your exterior complement your interior? Everyone needs a home that is inspired by nature. At Yenbo Limited, we offer durable, energy-efficient and affordable UPVC windows in attractive colors. Visit us at Wall Street Business Park off Mombasa Road. Yenbo UPVC windows, your desire, our challenge.
Newline Limited, we offer current, stylish, state-of-the-art kitchen and wardrobe appliances tailored to suit your preference. We offer unit transfers within Nairobi. Let your kitchen stand out today by visiting us at Chester House, Lotus Street. Your comfort and satisfaction comes first.
Floma, professional makeup.